Association or causation. Association is when researchers find an association, which could be called a correlation. What they are saying is that they found a relationship between two or more things. The trouble is there could be other hidden variables affecting this relationship and that the researchers don't know about. Causation is when an article says a causation was found. This means that the researchers are saying that changes in one thing they measured directly cause changes in the other. It's cause and effect. Most of the research you read about indicates an association between variables, not causation. You can find the key words by carefully reading. If the article says something like, men were found to have, or women were more likely to, they're talking about associations, not causation. Okay, let's look at some of these examples to see if they're association or causation. The time period where you write with a mechanical pencil and the amount of lead remaining. This would be a causation. We're assuming that you're writing with that mechanical pencil during this duration, and of course we write with the pencil, the amount of graphite is going to reduce. So the cause is use pencil. Effect is lead gets used up. Now you don't have to write that for each of these. You could just write causation or association. But when you're trying to determine which one it is, think if you could actually make a cause and effect that goes with the statements. Let's look at the next one. When the number of bus stops increases, the number of car sales decreases. Now, this could be related and associated with each other, but it's not a direct causation. I mean, there could be other factors too, like there could be more car rentals, there could be more used cars instead of new cars. It could be people could be walking to more places. Or maybe they're just keeping their cars and not getting new ones. How tall someone is and how much someone weighs. That would be association. Let's do one more together. Number 10. When the amount of sugar in a quart of apple juice is reduced, there are fewer calories in each serving. This one is definitely a causation. If you only remove sugar, then there will be less in the serving. Okay, try the rest of these on your own. See if they're causation or association. Hidden variables. What could be some possible hidden variables of each of the following associations? Number 1. As ice cream sales increases, violent crimes increase. Now, even though this is an association, this would probably not be a causation here. Now, a hidden variable for this could be the heat. So the temperature, heat could cause a rise in both of these. Number 2, Hawthorne effect. The more participants know about the experiment, the more skewed the results. Now, what would be a hidden variable for that? Number 3, gambler's fallacy. If something happens more frequently than normal during a given period, it will happen less frequently in the future, or vice versa. What's some hidden variables about that? As divorce rates increase, suicide rates increase. Number 5, when the number of bus stops increases, the number of car sales decreases. It's like what we talked about earlier in this video. Number 6, when there is more protein in an athlete's diet, the athlete scores more points in a game. And then number 7, when fewer firefighters report a house fire, the damage caused by the fire decreases. Now, all 7 of these examples are considered associations, but not causations. They're not causations because they would definitely could have other factors, other hidden variables. See if you could come up with at least one for each of these examples. Creating scenarios. Give various examples with cause and effect. Causation causes that directly cause the effect every time. So just create some examples of cause and effect. Be creative here. Also create some examples of association. An association that's not causation. Anything that's a causation is automatically an association, but an association is not always a causation. It's just like association could be a rectangle, and causation is like a square. Okay, let's look at the next part. When you answer a Fermi question, you'll do the following. Guess an answer, make a hypothesis, identify relevant variables and formulas, gather data, and then make a conclusion. The main goal for Fermi questions is for creative answers. So don't just say x equals 5 or whatever. Give reasons. Be creative. So, each answer will have a range. So, pick out a few of these questions and do this process. Here are the questions that are given to you. How many hairs are on a human head? Number 2, how many restaurants are there in Houston? Assume that there are 2 times 10 to the 6th power people in Houston. Number 3, how many cells are there in the human body? Assume the volume of a given cell is 10 to the negative 15th m cubed. How many steps would it take to go from Bowie to the University of Texas at Austin? Assume it's 194 miles. Number 5, how many quarters would it take to make a stack as tall as your school? Number 6, how many people could fit on a football field? Number 7, how many individual frames, still images, are needed for a feature-length motion picture, so for a full movie? Assume the average person can perceive 20 frames per second. How much water is wasted by a leaky faucet in one day? Number 9, how many times does a human blink in a minute? Number 10, the average hand sanitizer kills 99.99% of germs. How many germs survive? Number 11, it's a hot, clear day. Your car is parked outside without shade. How much hotter is the car after 15 minutes of being parked there? 30 minutes? An hour? Number 12, what is the average cost of an automobile that you plan to keep for 10 years? Include the buy price, maintenance, repairs, parking, cleaning, gas, etc. Any other expenses you could think of that would go into managing a vehicle. And number 13, make up a Fermi question of your own and describe how you would find the answer. Now, before you use external resources and look these up online, see what you could do before that. So do this process on guessing an answer, make a hypothesis, and identify the relevant variables and formulas before gathering data online and making a final conclusion. And the last two steps will be the challenge. Research Fermi questions on the internet and see if you agree with the proposed solutions. After doing some of these, go ahead and move on to the next section.